Oh, it starts again, like I've never been away.
Off I go.
Feel it rising like the fire. Feel it running through my veins. Oh, it starts again, like I've never left this place. Like my prodigal return to an old familiar way.
Time to get up.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I know it's time. Oh, man. I'm up. I was outside about, half hour ago? It's cold, it's windy, it's cloudy. Oh, the weather's changed. Oh, it's so nice and comfy in my sleeping bag at last. Finally. It's been so warm. This would really be a nice morning to sleep in. Okay, I'm awake. Camera out of my face. Jeez.
So this is a one coffee day. I'm skipping that. This is my Irish cream. It's the only way to camp and drink coffee. Yeah, so I'm only gonna have one coffee today. We gotta get out of here. I don't even know what time it is. It's probably close to 7 a.m. We wanted to be out of here by 7. It's obvious we're not going to be. But that said, we'll probably be on the water by 8, which is probably 2 hours earlier than the earliest date we've had so far, so that's good. We have a plan in place to maybe really work our tails off and try and get a day ahead. And we'll see what happens with that plan today by lunchtime and decide whether we're going to stick to our itinerary or try and jump ahead a day. We feel that we've been very lucky with the weather, and I don't know, we're starting to think that maybe the weather will turn, and if we can gain a day ahead, then we'll be in good shape, because we have to be at another part of the park at a specific date and time. So and we're, we still got all this gear to portage around, and we got some really nasty alders. I mean, yesterday was bad, but I think it's going to get worse. Alders coming up, especially on Maple Creek, and portaging and all that stuff. So I think we're going to try and make a run for it today and see how far we can get. So yeah, I don't know if this weather is being influenced by Hurricane Florence, which was due to hit the Carolinas before we left. So I don't know. A lot of big ifs. But this is actually nice. It was cold when we got up this morning, but it's warmed up a little bit. We've been moving around. We've warmed up. And it's turning out to be a nice fall morning, as long as the rain holds off. Yeah, this is nice. It's been hot the last 5 days or 4 days. Losing track of time now. I'm loving it. That's the best way to camp. You lose track of time and you just don't care anymore, right? So that's the way to live. here. Most cabins have log books with them, but Jeff's map, awesome. Yeah, we wrote in the log book here. We read all the logs in here. They're very well written. And we wrote in here as well. If you want to find out what it's all about, take a trip to the cabin and you can read about what we wrote down. And you can also add your own little story about how the hell you got here, because good luck. It's not easy. Doesn't matter which way you come, and it's not easy to get to this cabin. This is what makes this cabin so special. Well, it's 8 a.m. and we're ready to head out. The mist or drizzle, whatever it was, is now completely gone. The atmosphere is very fresh. It's actually quite a nice looking fall day. It's very cloudy though. It looks like the threat of rain. That's why I got my raincoat on. So I guess the plan today is we're gonna head up to North Raven Lake and camp there. If we get there in good time, we might make a decision to maybe push on, just because we might want to try and get ahead one day, so that way if the weather turns on us, we'll be in good shape to make it to the end of our trip. But I'm kind of looking forward to today. Now that I'm up and breakfasted, I feel better about today, and I just want to get going. This could be another fun day on the creek. And away we go. Woohoo! Oh, my back just cracked. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days. Woohoo! Let's go. Running speed. Coming to the end of the growing season. Ferns are turning brown already. It's been sawn. It really is starting to feel like fall now. It's so cool. It's damp. But none of us are like feeling cold or uncomfortable in this weather. It's like just perfect for canoeing and portaging. This could be another really good day. As long as the alders, don't give us a problem. Yesterday was quite the adventure. No log. I just hope it isn't as bad going up Raven Lake or Raven Creek, whatever you want to call it. I'm not too sure what the official name of it is. I call it Raven Creek though. Yeah, so pretty soon, probably hopefully within an hour or so, we'll be at the logging camp. Well, remnants of logging camp, long gone, but I don't know how much we'll see, because the only time I was there was first week of May, so nothing had grown in yet, and there was lots of relics to examine, but maybe now in September everything's all covered up with growth from the season, so I don't know how much we're gonna see, but we'll definitely check it out, and hopefully we'll have something to show you. Whitewater lily flower, pretty. Won't see too many left before the snow kicks in. Reeds. So there's the portage ahead, and then just as we come up to the opening of this
small lake, which I believe is called Raven Lake. Or maybe not, I don't know. I'm not too sure. There should be a... You should see the old logging camp on our right. This is a tamarack, eh? Or larch, whatever you call it. Ow! Thank you. Land. Ooh. Okay. Maybe this is it here. Oh, look, there's a bone. Oh, look at all the bones here. Look, moose kill. That's a... Wow, look at that, eh? Look at all the bones here. Maybe it was a deer. I don't know. Wow. All the vertebrae, look at all the vertebrae scattered about. That one's loose, that one's loose. Oh, they're all loose. Wow. Yeah. Oh, here's an old cabin. Yeah, it's still here. Actually, you know what this is? This isn't a cabin, it's an old ice sled. Check this out. So yeah, from what I understand, this was an ice sled. And what they did is they had a team of horses pulling this. And in wintertime, this was filled with water. And they would dump water, like it would make an ice road so that they could haul the logs out. And this was filled with water, and it would just freeze the surface of the land as they were going down like the road. So it would make it nice and icy so they could haul the logs out by horse. And so, pretty neat. A piece of rubber here. So imagine us going down a road, a summer road in the winter, and this would just let out water to flood the road and freeze it so that you could go over with a sleigh hauling tons and tons of timber out of the bush with teams of horses. And that's how they did it way back then in the old days. Is this bear scratching at this or something? Just, you know, like stretching its claws out, or...
Did it sleep right here?
I don't know.
Lay down and then it's like...
maybe something bedded down there, but this is fresh here. I don't know what that is. Something was chewing at it, or there's more claw marks all over. It's interesting. So this is how the sled would just be pulled along by the horses, and this would slide along the ice, carrying the carriage or the wagon or whatever you want to call it. Well, that's pretty neat. Here's remnants of an old cabin here. See a crosshatch pattern in the wood. Wow. I have no idea how old this stuff is. I imagine it's probably 80, 90, maybe even 100 years old. I have no idea. Should contact the park and say, hey, what's going on? Maybe it's only 50 years old. I don't know. Oh, it's heavy. I don't know what it is. Yeah, anyways, we came in spring and it was very easy to see. I mean, nothing was grown in. I mean, this is the end of the growing season. It was just filled right in. So this is like actually a bad time to come and look at cabin ruins. There could be tons more stuff, but we just can't see it. You could spend a day or a couple days picking through all this stuff. I remember see, we found an anvil kicking around here somewhere. Be interesting to see if you could find it again. It's a big chunk of iron used for metal smithing. It was around here. I remember it was on the west side of the camp, but it was heavy, so I don't think anybody would really go out of their way to move it much. Oh well. Oh, there it is, right there. Oh, God, it's never heavy. Look at that. That's a neat find. Yeah. Okay, I'm out and I can paddle this out. Yeah, he's been hanging around here for years, I guess. Bigfoot! I just saw 2 gray jays go by, whiskey jacks as they're sometimes known. You can actually feed them by hand and they'll come down and take it out of your hand. They're very tame birds. Unfortunately, Todd's got the gorp in his canoe, in one of the food barrels. But I know you see them around. All you gotta do is put some gorp or food in your hand and hold it up high, and if they see it, they'll come to you. I don't see them anymore, but I believe they're probably watching us right now. At the portage. Just finished a 645 meter portage along Raven Creek, and I decided to call for a snack break. We're probably not going to go ahead with that plan and try and kill ourselves and try and get half a day or a day ahead. We're just going to follow our scheduled route and take her easy. Enjoy the food and the scenery, and the weather's still holding. Hasn't rained. It's still cool though, which is kind of nice. I took off my raincoat, it was getting too hot. But it's been a good day so far. Oh, it's deep mud here. Oh, shit. Jesus Christ. We're now on our way to the 685 meter portage, further down or further up Raven Creek. So I imagine it's probably only 10 minutes that way. And we'll do that portage, and then we'll be paddling into Coral Root Lake. And then we got the last portage of the day into North Raven Lake, where we'll be making camp. I made a comment earlier like, oh, you notice how the land is becoming more rocky? Well, I shouldn't have said anything. It's been, I've had to ascend like maybe the last 40 meters of creek, just dragging the canoe over rocks, sorry. And I think we finally can reach a point where we can get back in, but it's still rocky. Whoa. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's good. Okay, yay. Well, that was no fun. Well, here we are finally at the 685 meter portage to Coral Root Lake. We finally get off Raven Creek silliness. It was quite rocky and shallow. My poor canoe probably took a few scars on that one. It's really starting to turn out to be a beautiful day right now. What time is it? It's 1:45. We are one slow team today. But hey, you know, I think we'll get there in plenty of time. We can relax and maybe do a few how-to videos. Maybe do a bear hang. Yeah, that's it. And just enjoy the sun. Probably best if you launch like right behind us. You can pull them out. Well, we're at the end of the 685 meter portage. It goes into Coral Root. As you can see, the creek is really low and it might be navigable. Like there is a spot through there we can. It's gonna be like paddling molasses. But the problem is getting in here. It's the put in. Like it's, I don't know. It stinks. It's really bad. Aha! Made it. Oh my god. It's gonna be a long paddle just to those pines down there. See what happens. Maybe paddle like ninjas. Just think light. Light ninja strokes. Let's just see what happens. Oh, Jesus. There we go. Oh my God, that smells bad. Oh, we're gonna die in here, man. Look at all that gas coming out. Oh, jeez. Lovely day on Raven Creek. Let's get the hell out of here. Oh my God. It's not a creek, it's a smelly pit. It's the armpit of Algonquin. Gotta visit the Thunderbox. Had to go for some time, and I'd rather do my business where it belongs than, you know, out in the forest. So the portage is just on the corner here. 2 minutes and we're there. Last portage of the day, and we'll be on North Raven Lake. Again, I see not a moose in sight. Not having it this trip, I guess. And that's it. We're at the last portage of the day. 375 meters to North Raven Lake. There's 4 campsites on this lake, 2 on the southeast shore and 2 on the northwest shore. So we're gonna go over to the northwest shore. We'll get morning sun tomorrow. I can't believe how clear the water in this lake is. It's just amazing. can see down quite a ways. I can't see the bottom anymore, but I want to fish this later on and catch nothing. Crazy. Home sweet home, North Raven Lake. So here we are at our site on North Raven Lake. I only came here for a day trip 12 years ago, but this bench wasn't here. So it's nice to see some improvements. I like this site because it's close to the lake, and I'm guessing in the morning we'll get some morning sunshine. It's nice, it's peaceful. It's a nice sized lake. And there's lots of firewood around. I imagine with the fire ban in place earlier this summer, not too many people came through here, and there's a lot of firewood kicking around. There's a little bit that was left over for us, so that was nice. Thank you very much. And it looks like it's, I don't know if it's cedar or, no. Yeah, I think it's cedar. Thank you very much. Awesome. So, I think we'll have a nice night here. There's a little bit of a breeze on the lake, but it seems to be dying down, but we're out of the wind on this site, so it's quite nice. There's a lot of hemlock here. I see a lot of options for hanging food barrels, so there shouldn't be a problem hanging our food tonight. And I'll get started on that soon. I don't want to leave it till a nighttime rot through the forest like we did a few nights ago on Bigger Lake. And we showed up and there was like this miniature fire pit here, complete with a fire ring and a bench and little bits of firewood in the fire. And then somebody carved a knife out of wood. They carved it. So Todd's all excited about this. This is hilarious. I guess this was their first attempt. But yeah, this is pretty neat. Oh, look at this. Ooh, I think somebody's gonna build a cabin. Interlocking beams. So yeah, it was pretty neat. Somebody has some time on their hands. But that's nice, it's constructive. It looks really neat. That's what you do when you're out here and you're bored. Find time to either chop wood or do something constructive, or read a book, or go fish and relax. So this is my bear rope throwing rock, whatever you want to call it, something like that. Anyways, I use this, I tie this into my bear rope so I can throw it over a tree limb and it will come down. In the past, when I first started doing this, I was trying sticks. Not a good idea. The sticks would just get caught on a tree limb and wrap themselves around, and you'd lose your rope, and that would be the end of it. So I got some really good quality rope here. This is mountain climbing rope. It slides over the tree limbs pretty well, so it doesn't really strip the bark off the trees. And it's got a lot of strength. I mean, if it can hold a human body, it should be able to hold a barrel full of food. So this is actually quite a lot larger rock than I'm used to throwing up. It's pretty big, but I think if I get some leverage, I can get it over this tree limb up here. This is a hemlock tree, and it's got a really nice live tree limb about in 15, almost 18 feet up off the ground, with a lower dead branch below it. But even if I hang it below that dead branch, it will still be a good 10 to 12 feet off the ground. So I think this is a really good choice. So here we go. Attempt number 1. Aha! Not bad. It's a little farther down the tree limb than I wanted it to be, but I can remedy that. Oh yeah, it's caught on these lower branches. Ah. I'm just thinking it's too far out along the tree limb. support the weight of the barrel. I don't want to kill the tree limb. But to test it, I can pull down on it. If you don't know any good knots, just doing a regular knot a couple times over is good enough to secure the rope. Now some people would normally go through their barrel handles, but in this case this one broke 2 days ago, so I'm confident, and I've always been confident by tying by the harness only, because it's hooked on the harness in the harness is hooked onto the barrel in many different ways, so it won't break or fall off. It's a pretty good harness. Alrighty. Oh, well, let's see what happens. This is like a semi-half hitch, if you will. There you go. It won't fall out. It's stuck on a knot as well. But I just pull that out, pull this off the knot, and release it off, down it will come. So it's very easy to release. If it starts to loosen, it will tighten. That's what a half hitch will do. Well, I'm satisfied with that. It's fairly high up. I don't think a jumping bear can get it. So, I'm quite happy with that. I wasn't happy with the one we did on bigger. It was just too close to the tent, and it was not high enough. And the limbs, I don't think were strong enough. That's a good barrel hang right there. I love that. Good job. I would be very surprised if I woke up in the morning and that barrel was gone. Especially if I slept through that. So yeah, this is one of those official campfire pits at a typical campsite in Algonquin Park. It's recommended you use these because these are set up by the park staff themselves, and usually they're lined with sand and gravel underneath. It prevents fire from traveling underground and erupting as a fire somewhere else and coming up and catching other trees on fire. I have seen that happen before, so please just use the official fire pits. I've seen other fire pits that were constructed by people out of the blue, and I saw somebody construct one right next to a tree on its root, and it caught fire, so that was pretty silly. Firewood, well, this site's actually a really good example. This site is loaded with firewood. There's kindling everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's sticks. There's pine needles, so this is really good kindling to get your fire started. Typically, I'll take some pine needles and make a small pile in the fire pit. Then I gather a bunch of little twigs, make another pile of those, and you get progressively larger and larger sticks until you get a nice top pile or a teepee. And then you would have to get some fire starter, like stuff that you can buy at the dollar store, or even birch bark paper. Now it's important to realize that it's not a good idea to strip birch bark paper from a live birch bark tree. That's like ripping the skin off someone's arm. It's not very good for the tree. It invites disease and it can get sick and die. So it's just best to leave a living birch bark tree alone. If you see a dead one, that's fine. It's laying on the ground, that's a good thing. You can harvest that and use that to get your fire going. So this is a tree. You can hear the snap. Hear it snap? That's dead. This is very dead. This is something that you can harvest to get a fire going. If you attack, and I'm saying attack because that's what you're doing. If you go after a living tree, you're attacking it, and you'll notice that when you try and break out the branch, it's very hard to do. It's very springy. It's because it's still alive. Hence, it's green wood. It won't burn. So please don't go after live trees because it's just a bad thing to do it in general, and you're not going to get any fire out of it. This has been dead for some time. These pine needles are a good fire starter too. On some trees, when a big tree is fallen, sometimes you can just reach in and grab planks of free wood. This stuff will burn, as long as it's not too rotted. So that's another way to gather wood without having to cut wood. I don't see any birch bark paper anywhere. This is like a hemlock forest, so there's some yellow birches over there, but I don't see any white birches here at all. So maybe a good fire starter might be some dead bark off of a dead cedar tree, toilet paper, newspaper, just a bunch of duff that you can gather from all the needles here on the ground, and that'll get you going. I wish I had some birch bark paper. On the portages today, we saw enough birch bark paper and birch bark to make a canoe. It was crazy. Your best bet is to gather a bunch of needles like this, and you can typically throw a cigarette lighter under that, and that will light. And once it starts to flame up, you can blow on it to generate more oxygen, which will give it more fuel to burn quickly. So birch bark paper is really good because it's filled with lots of oils. Even in rainy conditions, you can light a campfire with it. When it's really wet and you need a fire desperately, birch bark paper will be a lifesaver. And a lot of people are like, well, how can you have a campfire in the rain? It's like, well, you know what? It's actually quite simple. Bring a tarp. And if you have a little bit of extra time and money, invest in a silicone-based tarp. I buy them a lot from Mountain Equipment Co-op. And they will, you can put them up high above the fire, of course. You want them low, you want them high. So this way you can trap the heat from the fire in a general area, which will help to warm you and keep you and dry off your clothes or yourself if you're soaking wet. But also too, it repels or resists the embers from the fire that would shoot up. So that's a good thing to do, and also it keeps the rain off the fire. Or what I would do is I would have, if you can find like a big old rotting birch log, you can get a fire going and put that on top, and that will burn all day. And that will keep your fire from being drowned by any rain if you don't have a tarp. So that's a good idea to do that too. The rest, I guess you could probably just discover on your own. So it's a lot. It can be a lot of fun, and but please be safe and make sure when you put out your fire, do drown it with water. It's a necessity, because if you don't, sometimes a fire can travel underground, hit roots of other trees, and could be down there for days, if not weeks, and come up and erupt above ground somewhere else and cause a forest fire. So I think that's about it for now. You always have to make these pee noises when he's filming. Like, why? Okay, so dinner is served. Spaghetti with meat sauce. Is that all of it? Oh, there's a little bit more in there. Okay. Fire's about to light. It's about to ignite. Oof. There you go. There you go. There you go. Oh, a little short on this one, eh? How's that look? Is that even? Okay, guys. Dig in.
Alright. Thanks, Chef Mark.
You're welcome, sir. Enjoy.
Spaghetti and meat sauce. Mmm. This guy?
Oh, he's huge.
Yeah, he's big, eh?
Yeah. Oh, did you see that?
Just ate something.
Yeah. Chunk of wood. Well, here we are. It's what is it? Wednesday night or Tuesday night? I don't even know. Do I care?
Tuesday.
I don't really care. Okay, so it's Tuesday night. We're on North Raven Lake. Not Raven, but North Raven Lake. And we haven't seen anybody in 2 days. This is awesome. It's quite cool now. The weather has changed. It's lumberjack weather. Or lumberjacket weather, I should say. It was a tough day. I mean, we didn't go very far, but with all the gear we have and the low water conditions and the alders and the tight creeks and the beaver dams and it was a long day. But we got here, what, 4 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not bad. But we're all tired and sore. We've been going every day now for, what, 5 days? Is this day 5?
This is day 5.
Yeah. So it's been a good trip, and what I really gotta state is that the weather has been phenomenal. It's been dry, but I feel there's change in the air. We've been seeing it tonight, and I'm thinking it might rain overnight. I don't know, but I hope it doesn't. But we'll see. We got a long day tomorrow, a very challenging day tomorrow. So I think it's probably our biggest challenge yet. I know Birchcliffe Creek was a big challenge, but we're going to be hitting Upper Maple Creek tomorrow, a place I haven't visited in 15 years. And when we were back at the cabin, I was reading through some of the logs that people filled out while they were there, and I was reading their horror story recounts of going through Upper Maple Creek. And I'm like, yeah, that brings back memories. So I'll be going to a place I haven't been in 15 years, and I think it's going to be pretty bad. But we will persevere, and we will get through it, and we'll get to Maple Lake, my favorite lake in the park. My favorite campsites on that lake, too. There's way better lakes and way better campsites in the park, but that place just does it for me. There's something special about it, and I'm really excited to go back there. I'm hoping the weather will cooperate, and really looking forward to it. There were some really tough days, tough hours today on the Raven Creek, though. It got really narrow and rocky. We ended up going up a dead-end channel at one point, and it wasn't until we hit that dead end that I realized I had been there before 12 years earlier. It just never didn't bother think about it until then. Totally forgot about it. What else was there? As we progressed more towards North Raven Lake, the land seemed to become more rocky as we went, even in the creek. Oh yeah, there was a logging camp too. What did you think of the logging camp?
Yeah, the logging camp was cool. It's cool to see like all those trees growing up through it. It shows how long it's been there. And just the remnants of things happening in the bush so many years ago.
When men were real men. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like not like me now. Like I'm soft as soft can be, because I'm like we're day 5 and I'm hurting. Do you do many of these types of trips? Like, is this something?
Not as often as I like.
No.
And I haven't done well, actually, I did a trip like this in the spring, actually. It was pretty brutal at times, but, yeah, I know what you mean. It's tough, it's rough, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I don't think, when I'll be guiding people on my own trips, I'll be taking them to places like this, unless they specifically request it. I don't want to kill them, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I want to take them to places that are a little easier to get to and a little more enjoyable and less strenuous, if you will.
So it's fair to say there's like two different ways to approach tripping. It's like
Yeah.
you can go to be mean to yourself,
Yeah.
or just come and pick a few spots and relax for a few days.
Yeah, exactly.
Both sound fun.
I enjoy this because it's complete solitude. It's just like we haven't seen Buddy in 2 days. It's awesome.
Yeah, when
And you're seeing parts of the park that you'll probably never see again, and not many people ever see, right?
it's definitely cool to not have seen anyone for a long period of time. It's a different feeling, and we saw an airplane today, and it was just kind of we're like, oh yeah, right. So there's like a whole world out there. Kind of forgot about that. Yeah, it's nice. It makes it strange though when you do encounter somebody. Like, oh, right, people.
Yeah, I've had that feeling too. I've been on extended solo trips, and I might like come out and I'll stop by the permanent office and I'll give them a list of like, this portage needs to be cleared, or you need a new thunderbox at this campsite, just like maintenance issues. And I'll be talking to them, and there'll be these long pauses because I haven't talked to another human being in like 9 or 10 days. You just sort of like, oh yeah, this is how you talk, right? It just kind of clicks in. You forget, like you just haven't talked to anyone. So it's not necessarily speech impediment. It's just like, okay, I'm got to get used to doing something I'm not used to doing anymore. So I went outside here on the lake there and fished for about an hour and didn't catch a thing. No bites, nothing. I was down really deep. I was down like 35 feet on the lake here, and I didn't catch anything. The lake is crystal clear. It's unbelievable. It's obviously spring fed, but didn't catch anything. Although the wind was playing a bit of havoc with me, so kind of hard to maneuver in the canoe by myself. I had no weight in it. We're going to be hanging the barrels pretty soon. We've already done the test barrel hang, so that's working out fine. It's getting chilly tonight, eh?
It's cold.
Yeah, that's going to be good sleeping. It's good sleeping last night in the cabin, but it just wasn't long enough. And then I got rudely awakened this morning by Matt, so I wasn't too happy about that.
Sorry.
It would have been nice to stay like 2 nights at the cabin, so you have like a rest day. This trip has just been go, and there's been no chance to really sleep in it at all, so I'm kind of missing that. I like to come up here, and even on my solo trips, when I just have real power trips and I'm just go, 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 I'll have a rest day here and there just to relax and sleep in and enjoy myself a little more. And we haven't had this yet, and it's, I don't know, it's starting to feel worn down now. So it's been 5 days in a row. It's just go, 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 and I'm like, would like to sleep in, but I don't think that's going to happen until Saturday. And it's, what is it, Tuesday now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
Today was especially rough though, because like every portage had its challenges. Like even though they weren't long, they were rocky, and like getting in and out of the canoes were weird conditions. Like it's like kind of like a challenge to get out, and then like a challenge to get back in, and then mix that with, you know, all the shallow creek challenges that we've had.
Yeah, that put in on the last put in on Raven Creek was nuts. Where all that mud was.
Yeah, it took us like probably like, I don't know, like half an hour just to leave from that spot.
And then paddling up the creek into Coral Root Lake was just like molasses, stinky molasses. Oh yeah, but we made it. We did it. I was really concerned. I'm like, I don't know. But, you know, you stick the paddle and it's like it keeps going. It's like, okay, we can make it through this. You just don't want to fall out of the canoe. So, yeah.
Yep. I was asking you yesterday about, you know, if you've ever felt like you weren't gonna make it, and you were telling us that story. And I wanted to ask you, like, of your whole camping career. Out of your whole camping career, what would you put as your highest high, and what would you put as your lowest low, just in regards to camping?
My highest high and lowest low. Well, this chair is falling apart. Hang on.
Speaking of lowest low.
Lowest low. Lowest low. I did a 10-day, well, I was supposed to do a 10-day solo trip. This was probably going back about 10 or 12 years ago. Through access number 3, Lake Magnetawan. And it was a 10-day solo, and I guess I was on day 6. I was in White Trout Lake. This was like late October, and 2 weeks before I went, it was like Indian summer. It was beautiful, warm weather. It was gorgeous. I get in there, and the weather turns to crap. It's rainy. It's that like 1 and 2 degree rain, very cold, and for about 5 or 6 days I had this weather. And I just called it off. I said, I'm not having fun anymore. I have to go home. So I left. I left 4 days early. But the thing is that the day that I spent paddling out, the weather got gorgeous, and it got better and better. And as I left, the sun popped out. It was hot, and I'm just like, no, you're just teasing me. But that was probably a really big disappointment for me, because I don't know, I could not get warm on that trip. I was constantly wet, and trying to dry off and warm up, I just couldn't do it. It's just one of those trips where nothing worked out. So it was probably a good call to go home, but it's just, the odds were against me from the beginning. I mean, for 2 weeks before I went, it was gorgeous weather, and pretty much the day I went in, it just froze right up. It got really cold and windy. I remember that, because it's very rare for me to cancel a trip or shorten a trip. I probably only shortened a trip in all the years I've been going. Like, I've got like over 150 trips now, and I've probably shortened 3 of them and canceled 1. And I don't like canceling coming to the park. So my highest high, though, I don't know. I would say it was probably the Venus Link trip that I did with the Scarlett Brothers, Jeff of Jeff's Map, and Scott Smedley Co. and Jimmy Blackleg. That was probably the highest high. That was really an amazing trip. That was a tripper's trip where you got up and you moved every day. You paddled, you ate, you slept, you got up, you ate, you paddled, you slept. It just rinse and repeat for like 2 weeks straight. And after a week, you felt like you were there in the park for a month. Mind you, this was early July. It was hot. It was beautiful weather. We saw a few moose here and there. It was awesome. It was pretty good. That was probably one of my favorite trips of all time. It's tough, but I found it very rewarding. It was a very good trip. I still have fond memories of that trip, and I would love to do it again. I really would. It would be awesome. I would love to do the Venus Link again. Maybe even solo. Hell, no, you know what? Solo, I don't think that's the kind of trip you want to do solo. I think you want to do it with a group. A group would be a lot more enjoyable, and you know the people you're taking along are going to have fun. So, yeah, I would love to do the Venus Link again. That was probably my highest high. Yeah. It's you know what it was? It was like the toughest trip I had ever done, but because of that, the rewards were really good. It was the euphoria you got, or the awe, the feeling, everything. At the end of the day, it was just like, man, it's great to be alive. I conquered this. I did that. I don't fear this anymore. Just the joy of being outdoors and not seeing anyone for days at a time. It was amazing. Like, we didn't see anybody in a river for 4 days straight. It was amazing. It's just, it was great. Yeah, I would have to say that was my highest high. If anybody ever wants to do a really exciting, challenging canoe trip, do the Venus Link out of Algonquin Outfitters. That's pretty neat. Yeah. It was a trip invented by staff at Algonquin Outfitters, and it was a trip designed to connect all 4 Algonquin Outfitters stores. And there's one in Huntsville, there's one at Oxtongue Lake just outside Algonquin Park. There's another store at the top end of Algonquin Park on Cedar Lake in Brent, the town of Brent, and one at Lake Opiongo. And there was a canoe designed to link all 4 of them. And it can take a long time. I met 2 guys that went and did it this year while I was working at AO as a guide, and they did it in 9 days straight. That's pretty damn good, because we did it, the first 3 parts of it, in 14 days, and then the next year we could have did the final leg in 4 days, but we took a number of side trips and did it backwards to be extra mean in the spirit of being mean, and we did that in 10 days. So it took us 24 days to do it, and these guys did it in 9. But when talking with these fellows that did it, they were getting up at 4:30 in the morning, and they weren't making camp till like 9:30 at night. So they were really humping it. I admire them. They were young. They're in their early 20s, and they were just go, 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 go all the time. But I would still love to do it. But I'm a little more on now in my years, so I would love to just take my time and do it. But yeah. That was a really good trip. I recommend to anyone that's looking for like a couple weeks worth of adventures and is not afraid to tackle anything and not be daunted by what nature can throw at you, and to be prepared for some really beautiful sights. You know, it may not be like the Yukon or BC, but you know, Algonquin has its special treats in store for you if you're willing to go that extra mile.
It sold me, man.
You know, look at this lake. Have you ever seen a lake this clear?
No, not. I was telling Matt today. This reminds me of Jasper. This looks like glacial water.
Really?
It's so clear you can see the bottom. I've only ever seen that in Alberta.
I was
in the mountains.
I was freaking out when you guys filled up your bottle to do the filtering, how clear it was already. It was like, look at this. It was amazing.
Yeah. And it took a swim in it. It was like cool and refreshing.
I didn't swim in it, no. It was good, eh?
Yeah. No, I've never seen a lake that. There's a lake in Gatineau called Pink Lake, and it has a weird like mineral in it that makes it super aqua, and you can, it's pretty clear.
Oh, yeah.
But not clean clear like this. This
Yeah.
is just like clean.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I imagine this lake is probably very well spring fed. So.
Do you have any intentions of doing the mini slink again?
I haven't. Well, I don't know. I mean, if I got people hitting me up to guide them through it, I would definitely do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't really have any. Why? You said you want to do it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I would do it.
Want to do it next year?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Take a few weeks off in early July. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
July? That's a good month to
early
do it?
July. That's
Yeah.
a good time to do it because the water's still high, but it's really warm
Okay.
by then. Bugs can be bad though. But bugs. Right? Slap some stuff on and keep going.
Yeah.
No, it just the lower the water gets, the more difficult it becomes.
Like what we've been doing
Yeah.
the last couple days.
Like the nonsense we did today. Yeah.
So you'd rather deal with bugs and have high water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bugs are just a nuisance. They're just temporary, right? I mean, you can combat them, but low water, it's just, there's nothing you can do about it, right? But if it's higher water, then you can cruise on through and deal with the bugs at your leisure. I mean, it's whatever. It's no big deal. And a little trick for those not in the know: if you're like itching from bug bites, go jump in the lake, go for a swim. It'll take the itchiness away. It really works. I'm serious, it does.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever noticed that or not, but
That's a good trick.
if you're suffering from a lot of bug bites, go for a swim in the lake. It'll take away the sting and the itch. So tomorrow we got a bit of an adventure, probably our last big adventure. We got some big adventures coming up on the weekend, but I would say the last challenging adventure of this trip is tomorrow, as we're gonna portage off this lake to Tilley Lake, and then from Tilley up to Upper Maple Creek, where I haven't been in 15 years. But I do have some very fond, I wouldn't say fond memories, but very vivid memories of some horrors. It was a very difficult section of the creek to navigate, and I was ready to quit then and there at that time. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was tough. But once I got through it, the rest was easy peasy. So I'm thinking we might be in for 2 or 3 hours of hell, but we get through that, and the rest is easy. So, and I'll cook some chili for you guys tomorrow night on Maple Lake.
Yeah. Mark's chili.
Yeah. That's the stuff I made by hand at home, and then I dehydrated it. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing your favorite campsite tomorrow.
Really?
Yes, for sure.
I'm telling you,
you've been
like-
all over this
Yeah.
place, and so this is what you're saying. This is your number one.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why I like it. I think the number one reason is the wildlife opportunities. I've been at that campsite, I don't know, about 8 or 9 times now, and I have seen moose, deer, great blue herons. I've seen turtles laying eggs there. I've seen mink on the site. I've seen my first bear I ever saw in Algonquin Park was on Maple Lake. I've called for wolves on Maple Lake and received a reply. I've seen so much wildlife and heard so much wildlife on that lake. It's been very pleasing to me, and the campsite itself is it's very close to a marsh. There's moose nearby. I've seen beautiful turtles. There's a lot of rock and pine on the site, and I love rocky sites. As you remember, the North T Island campsite you stayed on, I was commenting how wonderful of a site it was, and you fell in love with it too yourself. You loved it.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
And that's the kind of site I like when I go camping, rocky and red pines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this site has it all. and it has really good sunsets and sunrises too. So, and it's pretty well protected from a north wind. So it's like, well, in my mind, it's an ideal campsite, an ideal summer campsite. But we're in the fall now, so I don't know how it's going to be. I mean, if it's going to be windy and cool, it's not a great place to camp because you're too exposed. Like, it is an exposed site. But I've been to a lot prettier campsites and lakes in the park, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of people have different favorites, and campsites are all, you know, all about individual taste. So, but I love Maple Lake for my own reasons. But and the campsite there I enjoyed the most out of any campsite I've ever been. But I hopefully we'll get a chance to go there, and you guys can discover some of the magic that I have when I've been there.
That's cool. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
We'll at least stop there, at least.
Yeah.
Check it out. Well, sounds like we should get some rest for tomorrow.
Yeah, I am tired. I'm ready for bed because we got a busy day tomorrow. I mean, once we get by that nastiness, we're still going to have 3 or 4 portages to go, but I mean, they're all regular maintenance. And we got a Rabbler Lake to paddle up, which is a nice paddle. It is a nice lake. It's a beautiful lake, and then we enter Maple Lake. But yeah, I could use the rest. I am actually quite tired right now, and it's like 9:30. It's like bedtime. Back in the city, it's like, what? 9:30? You know,
Yeah.
Time for another beer. But no, yeah. All this fresh air and exercise, and you know, it just makes you want to, you know, obey what your body's telling you, like to go to bed now. So
Eat good food and sleep.
yeah, we have eaten pretty well too.
Yeah. What's happening in Mark's kitchen tomorrow morning?
Bacon and eggs. Oh, and peanut butter on English muffins.
Yes. One of my all-time favorites.
Yes.
That's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good day.
Yeah.
You want to go deal with the bear barrel?
Yeah, and we gotta do the dishes too, so we should go hang the barrel.
Okay.
Oh, I'm tired.
I'll give you a hand.
All right, let's go do that.